Look at your hand for a second. Not what it can do, just what it looks like. Relatively small, soft skin, no claws, the nails are almost decorative. Compared to a chimpanzee's hand, yours looks like a toy. Now look at your face in a mirror. Small brow ridge, rounded skull, large eyes relative to the size of your head. Flat, shortened jaw, smaller teeth than almost any other primate your size. These are not the features of a dominant predator. These are the physical characteristics of a domesticated animal. And here's what should bother you. No human ever decided to domesticate the human species. There was no breeding program. No civilization rounded humans up, selected the calmest ones for reproduction, and released the results after a few thousand generations. It happened anyway, and the mechanism behind it was so embedded inside the structure of human social life that it ran completely undetected for tens of thousands of years. Let's talk about what domestication actually does to an animal. When a species becomes domesticated, whether intentionally or accidentally, something strange happens to its body. It isn't just behavior that changes. The entire organism shifts. Domesticated animals develop shorter faces and smaller teeth. Their skulls become more rounded. Their stress responses weaken. They retain juvenile physical features longer into adulthood, rounder eyes, softer faces, more flexible social behavior. In many species, fur develops patches of white, particularly near the face. Ears become floppier. Bodies become slightly smaller than their wild ancestors. Scientists call this cluster of changes the domestication syndrome, and it appears with eerie consistency across virtually every domesticated species on Earth. Dogs, pigs, horses, cows, goats, cats all share versions of these same physical shifts despite being entirely different animals. The domestication syndrome isn't a choice. It's a byproduct. When you selectively breed animals for one thing, reduced aggression, tolerance of others nearby, calmness around strangers, the body changes in all these other ways simultaneously. The genes responsible for behavior are apparently sitting very close to the genes responsible for physical development. Pull on one, and the other moves with it. And when scientists started comparing modern human skulls to the skulls of our closest ancient relatives, they found something that stopped some of them cold. Modern humans fit the domestication syndrome almost perfectly. Compare a modern human skull to a Neanderthal skull. Neanderthals had enormous brow ridges, thick, heavy bone projecting over the eye sockets like a shelf. Their faces were long and projected forward. Their jaws were massive. Their bodies were denser, heavier, built for raw physical dominance. Modern humans have dramatically reduced brow ridges, rounder, more globular skulls, shorter, flatter faces, smaller teeth than any hominin that came before us, lighter, more gracile bones. These differences aren't random. They follow the exact pattern that appears in every other domesticated animal on Earth. But there's something even stranger. Humans have an anatomical feature that no other primate shares in the same way. The whites of your eyes, the sclera, are large, visible, and bright. In chimpanzees and gorillas, the sclera is almost completely hidden. Dark, inconspicuous, revealing almost nothing about where the animal is looking or what it feels. Human eyes evolved to be readable. Your gaze direction, your emotional state, your attention, all of it is broadcast to anyone standing nearby. This sounds like a terrible survival strategy. In a competitive species, advertising exactly where you're looking gives your rivals an enormous advantage. Unless your survival depends not on hiding from your group, but on cooperating with it. Unless being understood by the people around you matters more than deceiving them. Readable eyes are a domestication feature. They evolved because humans needed each other in a way no other primate did. In 2012, a researcher named Brian Hare at Duke University proposed something that is now called the Self-Domestication Hypothesis. His argument was deceptively simple. Humans didn't need an external force to domesticate them. The social group itself did it. Involuntarily. Over thousands of generations, through a mechanism hiding inside the structure of everyday human community long before anyone understood what evolution was. It worked like this. In any group of early humans, there were individuals with very high reactive aggression, the kind of explosive, impulsive violence that flares when someone feels challenged, disrespected, or blocked. These individuals were dangerous to live with. They destabilized cooperation. They took more than their share. They intimidated others. They made the kind of coordinated survival that humans depended on nearly impossible. And so, at some point, groups started dealing with them. Not always through direct violence, sometimes through exile, sometimes through coordinated social exclusion. The group simply refusing to cooperate with the most disruptive individual until they changed or left. Sometimes, in more extreme cases, through collective removal of the most dangerous member by the rest of the group acting together. In almost every documented hunter-gatherer society ever studied, researchers found the same pattern. Groups have a consistent, organized intolerance of bullies. Dominant, highly aggressive individuals who try to monopolize resources or intimidate others are routinely challenged, ridiculed, excluded, or expelled. This isn't morality. It isn't justice. It is evolutionary pressure wearing the face of social behavior. Every generation, the most explosively aggressive individuals were removed from the breeding population, through death, through exile, through simple exclusion from reproduction. The calmer, more cooperative individuals survived, formed bonds, and had more children. Over thousands of generations, the average level of reactive aggression in the human gene pool gradually declined. The group was selecting itself, without any awareness that it was doing so. This process explains something that has confused anthropologists for a very long time. Modern humans, the same species that built hospitals, wrote poetry, and developed moral philosophy, also organized the Holocaust, invented nuclear weapons, and conduct systematic large-scale warfare on a scale no other animal approaches. How does the most cooperative primate also become the most organized killer? The answer is that domestication didn't reduce all aggression. It specifically reduced reactive aggression, the sudden, impulsive, individual kind. The flash of violence triggered by humiliation or immediate competition. But proactive aggression, the calculated, planned, coordinated kind, may have actually increased. Because proactive aggression requires exactly what domestication produced: the ability to cooperate with your group, to plan together calmly, to suppress your immediate emotional response, to act collectively toward a shared objective over a long period of time. You needed to become gentler in order to organize a war. Domestication didn't make humans peaceful. It made humans capable of both deep peace and organized destruction simultaneously. It removed the hair trigger and replaced it with a switch that the group controls together. And the physical record of this entire process is sitting inside your skull right now. Researchers analyzing human skulls from roughly 80,000 years ago through to around 10,000 years ago found something remarkable buried in the data. The brow ridge reduction and facial shortening didn't happen at a constant rate. It accelerated significantly during periods of increased social complexity. When humans were forming larger groups, developing long-distance trade, creating symbolic art, building the early architecture of culture, the skull was changing in response to social pressure. As cooperation became more essential to survival, the physical markers of domestication deepened. The bone itself recorded what was happening in the social world. You can read the entire history of human civilization in the shape of the human face. Here's what that means for you right now. The ease with which you sit in a room full of complete strangers, on a train, in a cinema, in a waiting room, without attacking any of them is not a simple or obvious thing. It is the accumulated result of thousands of years of social selection pressure operating quietly inside every human community that ever existed. Your calm is an evolutionary achievement. Your ability to make eye contact with someone you have never met and immediately begin reading whether they can be trusted. That open face, that readable gaze, those visible eyes, is a survival adaptation old enough to be written into the bones of your skull. You didn't choose to be cooperative. Your ancestors selected for it, generation after generation, in every community that successfully managed its most dangerous members and left more descendants than the ones that didn't. You are the direct descendant of every group that looked at its most aggressive member and decided collectively and without words that the cost of keeping them was higher than the cost of losing them. You are, in the most literal biological sense, a domesticated animal. And the strange part, the part worth sitting with, is that nobody planned it. No breeder, no civilization, no architect of human nature. The human species looked at itself, decided slowly and collectively that the wildest version of itself was incompatible with survival, and over tens of thousands of years quietly shaped that wildness into something it could live alongside. Not all of it, never all of it, but enough to build a world.